Hear me?
We should. It'd be more exciting, wouldn't it?
Can you hear me?
Great pictures.
So. You get it.
All everything I needed.
Hi, John.
Hi, I don't know if you can hear me.
Oh,
No.
Oh, it's coming
there's
out.
John.
It's coming out of
Hey, John.
Hey,
here.
John, we can't hear you.
But it's not his fault, I don't
He's
think.
not speaking.
No, but it's fun to talk like that. He does.
He's laughing.
I can hear you busting on me, but I can't unmute.
We did the same thing to you.
I know you do. That's okay. I know. Yeah, I know. I get it.
Is that annoying you?
No, it's just,
Can we hear
it's
it?
coming out of here.
Speak again, John.
Here.
John, can you say something again, so we know whether we,
Can you hear me?
yeah, no, okay.
Yeah, you change the audio. Yeah, the audio inside. I'm like,
Oh, it's so, okay, so it's coming to there and not here. Are you saying?
Hey, Mark.
I have to do it on the computer.
How are you?
Change it to the TV.
I've been in a wheel all day today. so-
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. When's the homecoming?
27th, I think. So, yeah, 27th.
Whose is this Friday? Athens, maybe? Somebody,
Athens or Sarah.
Yeah, I heard something on the
I
radio.
haven't seen Sarah's yet, so.
Hmm.
Yeah, we have ours is the 27th against Oregon. I think you come up here next Friday. Yeah, the big, one of the big time county events.
John, can you say something?
Can you hear me?
God, if you sing nursery rhymes for a couple of minutes, you'll be able to have.
There
a
you
nice
go.
distant
Keep singing.
backdrop.
Got nothing.
That one, that might help. This one. What's the name of the little camera guy? It's only giving me 2 options. That's okay. What happens if you try? Did you try both of them? Yeah. Oh, never mind. I got nothing. Those are all. I know. Yeah, me too.
That's your troubleshoot?
That's all I got.
That makes sense.
Done it on the phone.
What about the webcam?
We could call it, that's a good idea.
Or can you turn up the volume on that computer?
Call IT.
That might help.
I haven't met him in person. Megan's worked with him a lot. Alex, do that.
Oh,
Do you know what it's been?
yeah.
We know him.
Oh, boy, do we know this guy.
Is he a lawyer?
He's an artist.
Oh, he is? Okay.
We're running
So
late.
he's a lawyer.
Sorry, guys. We are live.
Oh, really?
Years ago, and then he left town and it become.
Stuff happens.
No, I don't think he's.
Just
he's
your
already
microphone. That is.
Oh, he is.
originally
Usually it
Oh.
switches automatic.
Now,
TV.
he's
Somebody asked
found
for that.
Leo, this is son,
I'm
works
sure.
at,
They're not in.
His son worked there.
Hey, John,
works at Lockheed.
can I
Oh,
call
hey.
your cell?
Would Kathy know?
All right.
Yeah, so that's what, yeah, that'll work.
I'll call your cell from this phone.
That's
I
okay.
mean, I can try, I don't know if I change my settings if this will work, but
Maybe you can be our.
Come again?
can you hear me or no?
A little.
Just a little? Okay. I can scream really loud.
Do you have your cell phone with you?
Yeah.
I know. I thought you said no.
You're yelling at me. He can't stop.
Give yourself.
You know,
Just
John,
Yell it
what-
louder.
I can hear you.
Come on, guys.
I mean, I can try logging back in.
Wave at him.
John, do you know sign language?
I don't.
He can hear us, but we can't hear him.
Oh,
Correct. He's coming out on Megan's computer instead of the
On the
TV.
board.
Usually it switches out of man.
All right. Can you hear me now?
There we go. Welcome, everyone. This is the regular monthly board meeting for the Tioga County Industrial Development Agency. It's Wednesday, October 4th. 2023 at 4:36 PM. The meeting is hereby called to order. Could we have a roll call, please, Christine?
Jen Chickarelli.
Yes.
Kevin Gillette is excused. Martha Savry. Yep. Tracy Manell. Eric Knowles.
Yep.
John Ward.
Yes,
Mary Thompson.
Yes.
Privilege of the floor, we have none. Let's move on to the minutes. Any questions about the minutes? I don't think
For
so.
me,
Can I please have a motion to approve the September board meeting minutes?
So moved.
Can I have a second, please?
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Thank you. Moving on to the financials. John, you have any comments?
no, I looked them over. They looked pretty straightforward for the month.
Okay. Seeking a motion to acknowledge the financials.
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Moving on to the economic development and planning update, Leanne Finney.
All right, handed out a, handout on this. Sorry I didn't make it into the packet. Didn't get it to Christine in time, so. Economic development, community development, Village of Owego, CDBG record groundbreaking is planned for October 10th at 11 o'clock. If anybody's interested in attending, I'm sure they would love to have you there. Village of Waverly, New York Forward, Local Planning Committee had met on 9/13, and we had a community engagement session on 9/27. There will be another local planning committee meeting tomorrow, 10/5. And we are getting down there. We're getting to where we're scoring and ranking projects at this point. So we're moving along on that timeline. The potential housing project for Waverly has been delayed. The property owner at this point is completely non-responsive to either me or the developer. We cannot get him to call back. So if you have any pull there, he's just not calling us. I've tried everything I know how to get a hold of him. All they want to do is talk about the agreement and talk about timeframe that, you know, and so I don't
Is
know.
there a real estate agent handling that, or is this a direct?
It's the developer, Seth, John Bernardo with Seth.
Mhm.
Town of Nichols broadband, I had their fiber install is complete, but I've since learned that they're doing the final leg of it out 282 and up State Line Road and expect to be splicing in fiber sometime this month on that final piece. They did extend the free installations. It's been extended to November 17th. I haven't gotten final numbers yet. I'll wait till they actually wrap everything up and then I'll come back and let you know the final numbers. Land Bank, Candor, New York Main Street, that's in the final stages, post renovation testing. I know Megan's working on final disbursements on that. Hopefully we'll get that one wrapped up here soon. 81 North Ave, our office assisted with a New York Main Street application, and we're waiting for the state to hear whether that's been approved or not. And recently, the Village of Owego Land Bank did 4 demos. Were they all in the village? All in the Village of Owego. So lots going on with the land bank. Workforce development. Sean has been scheduling individual meetings with the schools. The SVE and Waverly Career Center partnership are in negotiations on bringing a career center person into those facilities. So in negotiations. Okay. The BOCES, Owego Appalachian School Partnership is moving forward. Apparently there is a lease signed. And so BOCES will be offering, VT BOCES will be offering classes at the OA school facility. And they will include adult education classes, not just for students, but adult ed as well.
That's in the old
So-
bus garage.
Correct. So that's continuing to move forward. Planning, Elaine continues to assist with the countywide strategic plan. We've had work plans out there for department heads to complete and get back. And then there'll be a review by the legislature, a draft review by the legislature. Ultimately, the legislature will either accept or revise or whatever they're going to do with that plan. Hazard mitigation plan is ongoing. There will be a public meeting on that on October 4th. Sustainability management, Ellen is working on updating the solid waste management plan. She's assisted with setting up 2 Town of Nichols cleanup days, 10/13 and 10/14. and helping the village of Waverly and town of Barton for an event, cleanup event in November.
Excuse me.
Solar Farmer Brown pilot. So the Farmer Brown pilot, that is one that was negotiated by the town. And it was negotiated and put forth the way all of our municipal led pilots around solar have been, and that is with an equal third disbursement of the pilot payments. So the county had agreed to it, the town obviously had agreed to it, went to the school. There's been a recent change in the school board of education, and there seems to be a different point of view now. And so they did not agree to the equal third disbursements. So now the town will be, it's their pilot, so, you know, I'll help, but they're going to have to probably sit down with the school board and figure something out there. So I don't know, because the county is pretty set on equal thirds. You know, so I don't know what's gonna happen there, but there's going to need to be probably a few meetings around that, so.
Who's responsible for the solar farm on Bay Hollow, the huge one that's going up on the hill?
It's, again, that's a town negotiated pilot.
I've seen
That's
it.
a very big solar farm.
It is. I love their farm.
I know, it's a beautiful farm. I think it's like ruining the whole hill, but yeah, it's huge. Anyways, okay.
So as a heads up around pilots, I did have a conversation with the town of Owego assessor, Rick Pedro. He has concerns about these pilot agreements that are in place right now because they did get direction from the state on how they should be assessing these projects. And the ultimate result of this new formula that they're required is that in his calculation with these pilots as they're coming through now, in about year 7 or year 8, there's a potential that the pilot payment would exceed what they would be normally expected to pay, and that's not permissible. So he would like an opportunity to come and talk to this board a little bit about solar pilots and how he sees things going. So he was not able to make the October meeting, but he would like, if agreeable to you all, to maybe attend the November meeting and give you his insight on how this is probably going to go.
Is that because of depreciation of the equipment?
Yep.
Yeah.
So he's being proactive. He'd like to reach out. We talked a little bit about the existing pilots that are in place already. You know, who's going to kind of watchdog those and see where we are. You know, he's willing to be responsible for those that are in the town of Owego, but we also have in town of Nichols and town of Tioga. Hander's a different one though.
Side conversation. Do we know how Louisor is doing?
I've heard that he was beginning to try to speak, so I don't know.
Okay.
His whole one side was,
Yeah.
yeah,
Bad.
still bad.
Okay. Because I don't know who would handle that business down there. I don't know who.
Yeah, well, I have some thoughts on
Okay.
who that might be, but yeah.
Sorry.
We would be glad to entertain him at our November meeting.
I will let him know.
They're doing that all based on that discounted cash flow model now, aren't they?
They are. Yep,
Those numbers are all fed by the state, if I recall. I
yeah,
mean, again, I've got my own opinions, it's not a place for them, but I mean, these companies need reverse pilots. They need the smallest amount of incentive at the beginning, that is when their earnings potential is the highest. And they need that subsidy to increase, not your subsidy to increase, not the tax amount to increase, they're backwards. I mean, this is typical where we kind of make it up as we go. I mean, we had started by a fixed amount based on megawatt. But if you look at those discounted cash flows, they need subsidy later on, not initially.
right. And the challenge with that
I-
is that so many of these pilots are negotiated at the municipal level. I mean, in Owego, Rick has a pretty good grasp on it. But some of these other communities really don't have a good understanding on how to do this. And that's a challenge.
No, it's not your standard run-of-the-mill, put up a building, you know, it's a
Yep.
completely different business model. And don't know what the answer is.
So, Rick will attend in November and he'll give you, he's pretty well versed in it, so. You know, he could probably answer, John, any of your more specific questions about it. And I don't know, I don't know if there's any, maybe Christine, you can find out around the state if there are any other IDAs or other entities, how they're doing it. If they're looking at something like what John is suggesting, maybe there's somebody who's already figured that out there already. I don't know.
You would think there would almost be a service that negotiates for these small communities, you know what I mean? Where you could pay for a service to have somebody who's, you know what I mean, knows what they're doing with this, like, like in school districts, you pay for services. You know what I mean? Like, it's not something you handle all the time.
Yeah.
So it's not a standard pilot. Again, this is not your normal pilot arrangement.
Yeah.
Specific business model that's very different. And the state has created real property law that forces pilots. So they have to have a pilot.
Yep.
Regardless of who puts that together.
Yep. So I feel like we're gonna be talking about that some more. Under miscellaneous, happy to report the county audit, there were no findings, so everything went well there. Also, sales tax year-to-date numbers versus 2022 year-to-date numbers were up 9% in sales tax. We are assisting the Chamber of Commerce in setting up a business expo in November. The 2% tax cap pilot pending legislation. Christine reached out to you all about that, about sending letters of support. Jamie Johnson out of Steuben County is the president of Economic Development Council, New York State Economic Development Council, and has been really the lead in, getting to this legislation forward. So and he's done a really, really great job with that. DRI projects updates in November. Brett and I were talking and we thought it might be a good time to give this board an update on the status of those projects that fall under the DRIs. Some of them starting to come to a close. So I've asked her if she would attend in November as well. To give just a little quick, it won't be quick, it won't be long, just a quick update on those DRI projects that fall under the IDA. Yeah. We're gonna have a refresh. Yeah. That's all I have.
Right along
Yeah.
with the donut beer thing anyway.
So I was like, it's been 5 years.
How long has it been?
18 was announced, so 18, 19, 20, 21, 22.
Do you find
It
it?
seemed like that long,
5
doesn't it?
years
Oh, holy cow.
You wanted that.
since the Como was here.
Yep.
August 18.
When we started out with the DRI saying, we're gonna be different, we're gonna be very proactive, our projects are gonna go through quickly. Then COVID, and then the whole state process is just, yeah, nothing quick about it.
Every project was good.
Thank you, Leanne.
Yep.
Christine, what you got?
So, up next, we have the Sunny's Valley Solar. The public hearing transcript was sent to everybody. There was 0 public attendees. So no negative comments received from the town, county, or school. Also no letters of support. They understand the reason for bringing this pilot back around. And they were all made aware. So I'm seeking a motion to approve the resolution which authorizes sales and use tax exemption agreement not to exceed $3,077,212. A mortgage tax exemption not to exceed $248,844. And a real property tax exemption not to exceed $209,900.
How about a first? Anyone?
Before we vote on the henceforth and hereafter, I prefer we not include a mortgage tax break
For the solar zone.
for the solar, because that's
Okay.
county money. Yeah, so when that request comes across again,
discourage that. Ooh, remember that. That's a lot of money. It is a lot of money.
And if they insist on applying,
And I should have caught it sooner.
okay.
Dan, was this one of the ones Rick was talking about, or is he talking more of the ones that were approved at the town board level?
This is just IDA related.
He was wondering if Rick was curious on this one too.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure he is.
Well, I'm just curious, because again, you know, I don't know that there's consistency between what we've done versus what the town has done. I would almost be surprised if there is consistency.
Yeah, and our pilots are a little bit different. Our pilots, as Christine has mentioned, include the sales tax and mortgage recording tax. The town pilot is solely about the real property tax.
Well, and again, if you look at the fee that these folks are gonna pay, I mean, the incentive here, based on the way we've got this put together, is sales tax.
Yep.
And the additional mortgage that they requested, definitely.
Right, well, that was the reason for the change, but again, if they didn't have that sales tax exemption and it was just real property and mortgage tax, they would pay us the amount of the fee would be about the same amount as the exemption, so
Yeah.
I don't think they would do that.
So can I ask, when you're talking about excluding mortgage tax exemption, are you
Yeah.
talking on all pilots or just solar pilots?
Ask the question every time. But then, for sure, solar park pilots, but bring it to the attention how much money we're talking about, because that's a lot of money for the town.
Well, it depends on the value, the value of the property, what they're bringing in, right? Like, I mean, if they're bringing in 100 employees, that's different than a solar
Right,
farm.
then
You
one,
know what I
one
mean? That just,
person.
it makes a difference.
Yeah, it kind of, I guess each time.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. I mean, that's,
Yeah.
they're different. Solar projects are just different types of projects.
Yeah.
So you need a motion from the floor, huh?
Yeah.
So moved.
How about a second?
Second,
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. They're just painful. We're all in May.
I'm not a fan, man.
None of us really are, but anyways.
well, again, the only direction we're getting from the state, and it's now forced into our mission, is that we're in charge now, we're partly responsible for advancing these green energy initiatives.
No.
You know, that was never the intent of IDAs. I mean, IDAs was bringing in jobs and industry. You know, not bringing in jobs with this stuff. You're bringing in temporary
Yep.
things for the county.
Yep.
Long term, it's a statewide effort.
We will definitely keep that in mind in the future. We're all, nobody's on board with it, so.
Okay.
Once.
And just remind you, on the Sunny's project, the only reason the IDA was involved with that is because the town specifically asked the IDA to take it.
Right, I remember that, yes.
Well, and again, when you see this one built, you think the one on Day Island is big. This is gonna be by far the biggest one in the county. You're
160
just under the threshold where it would be state decisions. Another 5 megawatts, this would be a state decision, we would be removed.
164 acres?
Oh.
Hope somebody local's making money off of it.
So great, holy cow.
One is a farmer, he's making over $1 million in the next.
I'm sure.
Over his.
Here, use my land, yeah, why not?
I had it.
Well, we won't make that farming.
No.
So you might as well.
It's a good subsidy for some of these farms who want to give up a portion of their land and not go right.
It's like drilling in Pennsylvania, that's how it was way back when, right? Yeah. Sell your land. Yeah. All right, moving on,
Okay.
Art East.
Yes, so we received 3 new sales tax exemption only applications. All 3 are related to the BRI projects. Art East Cafe is Al Capriglione, they're on Lake Street. We are seeking to authorize a resolution offering him $24,000 in sales tax exemption for his renovations of 37 to 39 Lake Street. This has two commercial components below and apartments above being renovated.
So Christine, the 24,000 is the state and local portion,
Yes,
so the local portion being 12,000?
correct. Thank you.
Good point.
That is good. The next, I'll go over all three if you like all at once. and see the
That'd be
questions for all
fine,
three.
sure.
The next is Season 2 LLC. This is Ike and Julie Lovelace. This is for the new food and beverage facility replacing the old grocery store
Mhm.
at 229 North Avenue. I'm seeking authorization approving 17,942 in total sales tax exemption, half of that being local. Then the third is for Novel Properties LLC for 55 North Avenue renovations. And again, accountable we go based on the DRI project. This is a mixed-use commercial and residential apartment building. They are not seeking a lot at all. In fact, they're so far in that a lot of their expenses already incurred. But so they're seeking 1,128 in total sales tax exemption.
How much was it?
$1,128 total, and half of that being local.
Okay.
Whatever, I vote compared to the other.
Seeking a motion to approve all the sales tax exemption applications.
So
Please. How about a second?
Second.
All in favor? Opposed?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. I do have a little discussion around this. When Ike and Julie submitted their application, they noted Ike's brother is renovating two different multi-unit apartment buildings and intends to do more in the future. He's questioning if he could submit an application for sales tax exemption on these residential renovations. I said we would review any application on a case-by-case basis, but I would bring it up to you and see what the feel is on supporting housing initiatives. I mean,
It's not under the DRI. This is just.
correct.
Single family buildings, or are they? apartments?
One is 5 apartments on George Street, the other's a multi-unit on Main Street.
Another bucket for it?
Yeah.
The first thing I thought of was the housing study and the need for renovating these old dilapidated buildings. And this could be maybe a good incentive for,
We've signed on for the sales tax exemption. I mean, we're running full speed with it, so I think we should entertain it personally.
I don't think you did it specific to DRI. You said just in general,
Right.
right? Yeah.
okay,
Yeah, let them know, put it in.
okay, thanks very much. Now I have a question for you, but I'll give it to you.
Committee reports. How about that?
Lost
Lost track.
my agenda. Thanks, I found it. Thank you. Okay. So under the governance committee, we are seeking a motion to affirm my salary increase of 6% to 58,419 a year, please.
So moved.
How about a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks very much. Under finance committee, I reviewed the budget with the finance committee. There were some recommendations that revisions made. Want to alert John, Mary, that I did revise it with the new Veolia check going out and refund anticipated after my meeting today. It's the only figure I changed, and I'll go over that later. So I'm seeking a motion to approve this budget as recommended by the finance committee.
So moved.
How about a second? Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. This is great. So you're gonna submit it to the ABO or who
I do.
now?
This will be entered into a condensed Paris version format and
Okay.
submitted by the end of the month.
That's awesome, Christine. Good job.
Under Railroad Committee reporting that Jim Conway is meeting with me and some potential development opportunities October 17th and 18th. One is CIG Logistics, a sand transload company. The other is George Mailer, the same broker who attended our meeting a few months ago, who reached out to RJ Corman wanting to coordinate on bringing rail to the Matco building on Route 38 to increase its sale potential. So I'll be joining Jim with those meetings just to keep in the loop. And I did follow up on a lead presented by Kevin Gillette about the Hartford Gas Storage Company. He had heard that it was closing down. So I forwarded that over to Jim. He called, the company is Enterprise. He was already in touch with them. They confirmed they're not going out of business. And they do actually pay RJ Corman to store their cars, but they're open-minded to selling a parcel of their land, a plot of a portion. So that's another potential development going forward. Any questions? Onward to pilot updates. All of our sales tax exemptions are within their authorized limits and reports will continue coming in. Moving on to project updates, Illegal Gardens 2. So everybody has in front of you this 2-page packet. This is the result of our final developer agreement meeting. Page 2 is a detail on the tank and booster component of the project, which is not refundable. The end result of that, including some of the engineering work that they completed on behalf of the project, purchase of a SCADA and generator for time constraints, disinfection, just the expenses you see listed there, result in a total expense of $131,780. We already paid them at the beginning of the project a check of $33,875. So the remaining balance that we owe them on tank and booster portion is the very bottom line balance that we will be cutting them a check for $97,905.63, but it does get better. Front page 1, when we sign, so we cut them that check upon executing these agreements. However, the water main is a portion of the project which is reimbursable to the IDA. In the end of all of these expenses listed out, they would owe us $484,809.19 is when they owe us.
That Veolia.
Veolia owes us the $484,809. So that's the amount of the check they'll cut back to us, and the net is the $386,903.56. So I'm
Were
seeking.
they agreeable to that number? The
They are.
480 and change?
Yep, they are.
What would be interesting to see is if you could bring up that, again, maybe for next meeting, update what our budgeted costs were versus where our net's gonna end out.
Okay,
To see, again, because that extra 100,000 we're gonna give them, that I assume is more than we were expecting originally.
it is, but so is the refund, but
Right.
I'll do that. Share with
Yeah,
you.
that'd be just good to see, just to know where we finally ended up on this,
Okay,
the old project.
I can do that. Thanks. And,
We still haven't got the road figured out, but that's between our attorney and Wheel Gardens 2 attorney. That's what I call it.
correct.
Winter's coming. Winter's coming.
Tell me about it.
Not today, it wasn't.
Some attorneys move very slow.
Wow.
Did you hear the?
Some, not half.
Not her, not her.
You're the
You push it, yeah.
I just had to look at it. It's not.
See an motion to move forward with that?
I'm seeking a motion authorizing Jen as chair to sign the final developer agreement once received and reviewed by Joe. They're
So
gonna,
it's all on me.
So moved.
Thanks very much.
All in favor?
I,
Opposed? Thank you.
And just so you have a sense of timeline on that, they have said they'll send us the final agreement drafts by the end of October. We'll have Joe review it at that time. Then we'll sign it. We will cut them the check immediately. They will cut us, they are required by law to cut our refund check December and January, and or however they're stating they'd like to cut it sooner for us by the end of November for their auditors' sake, and their accountant's sake, get it wrapped up, get it done. However, they did note they need us to finish our 2 items on Robinson's punch list. They'd like us to do it before they cut us our check.
Okay.
So those are weather sensitive. One has to do with the asphalt. And Dean from Robinson did confirm they're coming back to fix it. They're not asking for any money. Additionally, he just hasn't put it on the schedule yet. So I've been bugging him, and I'll continue to do that with a little more pressure based on.
use your mean voice,
Okay.
show him your black eye and then you should see the other guy.
I will.
Sorry, I should have mentioned that that was not appropriate.
I will provide it. Let's see where we are. So other than that. Grant updates. We have. On the Richford Railroad, Steve Rowe advised they have a drilling rig lined up. Tentatively planned for next Tuesday, Wednesday to drill their boring for the Richford Bridge. He's in communication with Tom Clark from RJ Foreman, and they have that coordinated together. That update was just from October 3rd. Back in September 11th, he reported the Richford Railroad, they reserved the survey file. They're looking at some rough grading to look at options for raising the bridge and track elevations. The geotech, bye, John. Thank you.
Bye, John. Thank you.
Good job.
Bye, John. Thanks. The geotech was the biggest issue. He was able to get somebody in to get that done. In regarding Raymond Hadley, they're working on the preliminary engineering report and map plan report. He said both of these studies should be done by the end of the year.
Christine?
Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but there's something in chat. Is that anything?
John was saying he.
Oh, it's John?
Yeah, I saw it flash up there.
Thank you.
Very much.
That's why we wait.
No.
We waved goodbye.
I need to coordinate with Larson Design to get the PEM building study moving. And I'm doing that. And haven't heard back on an approval for Reed Brook Meats, USDA meat capacity application. He did reach out to me. We considered a second grant application. In the end, he determined he didn't want to go into any further debt at this time. The second grant opportunity would have only covered 30% of a project up to like multi-million. So we looked at it, but nothing's happening there. And Logic Road, we don't have an approval on that grant submitted by Soil and Water yet, but we did have Bill Woods and John Helen, just so you know, we're concerned that we wouldn't get that fixed before it eroded to the point of the full falling. So Mike Jura from Soil and Water went out and met with them. They looked at it, and they're on board with our plan. They're a little satisfied that we're being diligent, and Mike said once design work is complete, we can present the proposed design to all parties involved, begin the permit application process. And if we receive word on the grant funding, we can begin the process of paperwork and agreements with the landowner for the project, and he anticipates completing the design prior to end of year. That's all I have for the day.
Great. So we do have some things to discuss in executive session. We have an item. So I'm seeking a motion to move to executive session, please. How about a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Opposed? Thank you.
Do you want me for this or not?
Yes.
Yes. I've read.